Hi, my name is Peter, and today I would like to talk with you about 6 lessons I learned from the coronavirus pandemic, and you should learn them too. Why? Because I believe that anyone can do anything from anywhere at any time by working with others together. And how do we achieve that? We achieve it by continuously learning, getting motivated, and celebrating good and positive news and outcomes. And that's what I would like to do every time I put out a video with you. We learn something, get motivated, and celebrate good and positive outcomes of our community. This is the first video on this channel, and I'm very excited about it. And there's no better place to start this journey than by talking about last year 2020 and this year 2021 from my experience and how I look forward to this year. The coronavirus pandemic is the big outbreak, the one in a lifetime event, the biggest outbreak in 100 years. And although that sounds quite flattering, it's very difficult for me at this moment to say, well, it's a privilege to live through these times. Although I have to say they are pretty exciting, but also pretty sad and challenging. More than 2 million people died from the coronavirus, and many more suffer of its consequences. Many more lost loved ones and mourn. Many more go through hardship, through difficult times. It's the biggest economic crisis in 100 years. I can't even understand what that means, but that's what the statistics show us. The biggest economic crisis in a very long time. Jobs are lost, livelihoods are lost, people lost homes, relationships because of that, and there is a big insecurity looking forward to this year 2020. So, how do we move forward from here? What do we do? Do we just say, well, that's it, it's okay, it's a worst year in history, and from here it's only getting worse? Of course not. Of course not. It will continue. Not only because some of us will inevitably continue to eat raw animals because they are so delicious and germs and viruses mutate so that they affect us, but because we know that germs and bacteria were always enemies and friends, and that another outbreak will come. Sometime there will be another outbreak, and the question is only if this one, the coronavirus, is the last pandemic in humankind's history or not. But that depends on us and what we do. So let's just start with 6 lessons I learned from this period. And number 1 is we are poorly prepared. Devastating. There is a German saying that says there is no bad weather, only bad clothing. And that's true because in Germany there is always bad weather, and the only thing you can do is to prepare for whatever weather you might encounter, and then you will be fine. And that's exactly what we should do in our lives and in our societies. We should have had, and many countries had, systems in place to prevent the spread of such a virus outbreak. Some countries did better, others didn't. We were in many ways poorly prepared. Of course, the pandemic hit at the worst time possible, didn't it? We had to cancel holidays, our plans for whatever we wanted to do. It's very inconvenient if something like this happens, we would say. But reality is very inconvenient. Life in many ways is suffering, and we have to find a way around this, a good balance between security and flexibility and about life in general. And as a society, that's the way to move forward, to be better prepared. Many say that this is the last pandemic in humankind's history, and that we will find solutions, international agreements, and systems to fight another outbreak like this. Second, what I learned from the coronavirus pandemic is that civic responsibility is a cornerstone of democratic countries. And that's amazing, that's positive, but it's also a challenge. What do I mean by that? I mean by that civic responsibility is what drives good societies. When people take on responsibility for themselves and for others. In a democratic society, this is a fundament we should never lose. Containing the coronavirus, the spread of the coronavirus was partly possible here in my context in Melbourne due to the collaboration of citizens. Now, don't understand me wrong. Of course, the long lockdown we went through was difficult and hard, and we were about to give up on it and to give in into anger and disappointment and anxiety. But on the other hand, we knew that doing our part in stopping the spread, not connecting with others, doing the right thing will be what will stop the spread of this virus. And it did. And I'm thankful that a society as a whole did this. And I hope that we will see this responsibility in other areas too. Civic responsibilities. Third, we belong together. We belong together as a global community. Did you hear that? Globalization had its final year. What? Really? Is that the answer after a virus outbreak? That we just give up the dream and hope for a united earth with united nations collaborating on challenging problems like the technological disruption and the challenges of climate change? Should we just give up the dream that we lift out of poverty every day hundreds of thousands of people, that it's possible to distribute our wealth in such a way that there will be no more suffering and hunger worldwide? Well, I'm not prepared to give up this dream. And the coronavirus pandemic showed us that we belong together when we face questions and challenges worldwide. It's not possible to solve them on a local level. We have to collaborate. And in future, this will be even more challenging. A global solution for global problems is for me what I hope and live for, what I dream of, that my children will live in a world that found a way to collaborate together. Number 4, we need to connect. We need to connect not only online, and in many ways, the connection online is just an extension of our relationships in real life. Perhaps we even gives us the opportunity to make new ones, but we should not mistake them to be the same. What I learned during the long lockdown here in Melbourne was that we need the human connection with real people. And gathering online, meeting online, should be the gateway, the opportunity to foster relationships in real life. And the coronavirus pandemic just reminded me of how important this is. Number 5, freedom is not just a right, freedom is a privilege. But I learned during this time that how easy it is to lose freedom. And again, I think our government here made the right decision to impose a lockdown, to appeal on the civic society and take on responsibility. But I also realized just how easy it is to lose freedom. Never take it for granted. And I think that will be a big challenge in future. We should always remember that freedom is a privilege. We should be thankful for it and we should uphold it. We should seek it. We should keep it. And number 6, misinformation and ignorance. We can't agree on anything anymore, isn't it? Many give up. It's much easier to listen to outrage, to bad news, and just keep in your information loop, because that feels good. It's not challenging. That's what we have to change. We have to be better informed, to keep learning, and to be open for conversations. Every time you have the feeling you have the right answer, the answer that won't change, either because of religion, because of any other societal structure you believe in, the left or right, or any other political movement, you have to remember there is always a different point of view. And you have to be open to understand that different point of view, and if necessary, to collaborate with people you disagree with. Number 6, misinformation and ignorance. That's it. 6 things I learned from the coronavirus pandemic. I hope they were motivating enough for you to get moving, to get up and try to do your best to make 2021 a better year. Thank you, and next time we will talk about the nicest thing on earth, love and relationships. See you.